Okay, this is what was known back in the day, probably the 50s when these were made, as a Carpenter lamp, which is an old-timey work lamp. Originally there was a dry cell, probably 5 pounds or so, clipped to here, and was about 6 volts. Had twin beam incandescent bulb that is replaceable inside with a reflector. Seen here, this is the original one out of this, well, not this one, but of another one, with a 2-beam switch. And a real glass lens, believe it or not. They made them better back in the day. And this is a spun aluminum housing, also better made than plastic. This is an interesting project I put together using an LED from a recessed lighting piece made for home use. We'll show how that works in a minute. This particular one is a 5-inch unit, which really is about 4 inches, which perfectly fits the inside of this housing. I went a little overboard with this one. I used to have access to powder coating facilities. That's why it's black. And I used a lead acid cell. It's 12 volts, so it's very compatible with automotive use. It can run off a cigarette lighter if necessary. And only downside is it's heavy, but that kind of keeps it in one place when you need it to be. And it's a simple toggle switch. Extremely bright, very useful. Has a guard to keep the glass from being shattered, as well as it could be set on end if it's by itself. Originally this started out as one of these. This one's been partially taken apart. I'm building another one for a friend. He doesn't know this yet unless he watches YouTube. Basically hollow, spun aluminum. It's been fitted with a single way switch. Cast aluminum clip, adjustable. And of course the reflector with the giant incandescent bulb that was in it probably pales in comparison to a standard LED. What I found is that this particular recessed light fits perfectly within this housing. This is a 5-inch unit, and once you take the steel, nice looking vanity plate off of it, it's a cast aluminum heatsink, which just happens to, you add a little bit of silicone tubing around to the edge, fits perfectly inside. This is hard to do one-handed, but I have tested it for fit, and it stays in place and will not come out. And once you do that, you put your glass on carefully, and then your bezel ring, which basically compresses the glass down on it, and then finally your guard. What is only missing from this video, how-to, sort of, is this is the wrong kind of DC converter. This is necessary to take 12 volts or whatever battery voltage you have and boost it to the necessary LED voltage, which is in this case 24 volts. That one over there is around 35 volts or so, I can't remember. Basically what you do is get an adjustable unit similar to this. This is not the right kind. There's so many steps down instead of up. And adjust it so that the current matches what the factory power supply outputted, which would be the 110 volt one it came with in the recessed light kit. And once you have that all figured out, and the colors are freaking out in this video, you basically have a useful antique flashlight that will serve many years to come. You can choose whatever kind of battery you wish to use, as long as you can make some kind of adapter plate, which I did in this case. There are 6 8-amp hour cells inside here making a 12 volt lead acid pack, and this clip of course is removable and slides off if you need to not carry a 10-pound weight around with you. Uses RCA jacks for power since they're pretty much everywhere, and makes daisy chaining things very easy since, well, RCA has been around for 50 years. So basically I might go into more detail once the DC converter I ordered comes in, because unfortunately those things are not just able to be bought at the store. And there you have it.